Welcome to another Thursday night session. Hope you've had a good week of trading. It's certainly been a very interesting last 7 days of trading ads. Alts having a little bit of a moment. Again, we've traded some good alts this week, or really just in the last probably 4-ish or 5-ish days after BTC sort of settled a little bit, has allowed alts to sort of flourish to a degree. So we're going to show a few alt setups that we've shared inside the inner circle this week as well. The one coin that we shared last Thursday as well that has since, or we're just under the 11% top 11.25% that we did since this time last week on this particular altcoin. It's a trader favorite. And a couple of insane alt grabs that we managed to get this week as well. I'm going to call that to pure luck. But ads, let's get into BTC and have a look at what she's doing.
Well, BTC. All right. So over the last, let's say, since the last year, we've been running up to this top here at 10,250 tie, which is at the supply zone right here just to the left, and we've got our validation with that wick, as a lot of you know if you've been following us for a little while. But since then we've been rejected tie, moving down towards the second most relevant demand zone, first one being pushed through at that between 9,300 and 9,000 mark. So we're at this next relevant demand, which is looking good for it being respected with just the 2 weeks and then closing well above that zone over the last couple of days. And if you've been paying attention in the Discord, if you're part of it, I have been saying that we need to break above this 38.2 and close on the daily. So not just push through a wick, we need to physically close a candle body above this 38.2 before we can aim for even this midterm supply zone that was drawn on the 4-hour or even the 23 tie.
Yeah, and that's something that we tout quite a fair bit to our guys. You know, if you trust your TA enough and you've got enough confidence to jump in early on a move, then by all means go for it. This is never financial advice that we provide, of course. But for me, I'm happy to sacrifice a couple of percent in a move to get confirmation of something, to get a better risk to reward ratio than simply just jumping in on a whim and hoping for the break above. We've got clear resistance there at the 38, and you know, I think it was not last night, the night before, Ads and I shared our 3-step beginner trading strategy using exactly what you see on the screen here. We use our horizontals, we use our support and resistance lines to a degree, but we use our supply and demand, which we sort of call our support and resistance 2.0. And our fibs and a couple of other tools beyond that, which is Ichimoku. And you can see some of the indicators that we've got down the bottom there, the CCI for spotting divergence, RSI, our custom steam roller indicator. And we can see how well that those oversold conditions have printed on our custom steam roller indicator. So really, it's a pretty basic sort of setup at its core that definitely needs some refining once you apply it to your own sort of trading strategy and your own trader type. But you can see how well that 50 fib was respected in conjunction with that demand. And of course, when we overlay our Ichi as well, we also get some more confluence to sort of give us an indication of whether we've got cloud support, base conversion line support, what our Chiku is doing in relation to the cloud, what our Kumo cloud is doing, whether it's bullish or bearish. So you can see the confluence there. We've got cloud support, we've got a bullish a bullish Kumo twist there, which is right where that wick sort of touched on, 50 and demand support. So we did mention last week, and Dory, my brother, if you are watching this, I was agreeing with you, one of our members inside the inner circle, where we said that 841 for us was going to be the sort of, I wouldn't say the bottom, but the sort of bottom of this temporary move. And I think we kind of almost got it to the dollar. So we were very fortunate for that. But yeah, at this point, Ads, again, I'm happy to wait for some confirmation above the 38 fib. And looking at the structure there, if we do get a nice clear break above, I think it would be looking nice for a little push.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do wholeheartedly agree with that. And I need to stress this enough for anyone that is looking at going long or purchasing some Bitcoin on spot. you need to wait for this break at the 38.2. That's paramount in your trading decision, because this is the point of resistance, and we need to close we need to close above it in general to confirm any sort of pushes towards the 9,000 and beyond.
Yeah, and if we continue back down to demand, we've obviously got a short-term range occurring there as well. But, on the side of the bulls, we've got a sort of a nice, if I can just annotate for 1 sec, I'll show you here. We do have some nice sort of support with these wicks on our baseline, on our Ichimoku. So, if we do get a clear break above again and a break this 32, then, we could make our way up to the conversion line there. But again, as Ads sort of said, this midterm supply is going to be the next little bit there. And it also correlates with the top of our Kumo cloud, which could be acting as a little bit of resistance there if we do get a break above. So again, there's too many metrics there telling me to just wait and be patient. And as a swing trader, I'm always happy to do that.
Absolutely. And that's the name of the game, is swing trading, Ty.
Definitely. And just to rehash on those videos, if you do want to see our 3-step trading strategy, we posted it on Facebook. We also posted it in Discord as well. It's an 11-minute video showing you how we find these setups, which you can see in our Discord. We've got 25 or something successful trades that we've made in the last few weeks alone using this strategy on alts and on BTC as well. And if you do want to know a little bit more about our custom steamroller indicator Ads, you did a brilliant job, mate, on showing how we use that in conjunction with our trading strategy, and that's included for free for all of our members inside the inner circle. Not bad for $30 a month. So let's get into some alts that we've traded this week, Ads, if you want to bring a few of those up, and we'll look at them. A couple I'm kicking myself for not trading, but a number of them we have, and we've been kind of thankful for that, while BTC takes a little bit of time to simmer.
Yeah, well, one of them that we had a look at, was it BAT was one of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, so if you bring up your charts that I sent you there, Ads, we'll have some that we can bring up.
So I believe that was the first one.
Yeah, so this was the second one. The first one, we actually only just started trading this last night, and I'll run you through what I'm sort of seeing on alts. Admittedly, I'm having a far better strike rate with alts at the moment than what I am playing BTC, because alts are sort of taking my attention a little bit, probably since the start of this year, admittedly, because I'm just getting better returns on alts, but of course still trading BTC. But one thing that has been playing out really, really well and being respected amongst not only BTC, but a lot of alts, is this trend line and 50 support. And we can sort of see here, we've got... and one thing that, and we harp on this every single week, Ads, like when we draw in our fibs and when we draw in our trend lines, these fibs have been drawn forever, and these trend lines have been drawn in forever. Yeah. And you can see how well trend lines are being respected from a bounce. And you can also see how they're being respected quite well as levels of support. So for myself, this play has been phenomenal. We've got Kumo support, we've got 50 support, we've got overall macro trend line support, because we are on a daily time frame here. As a swing trader, I'm focusing a little bit more on the daily time frames, because I'm allowing my trades just to be set, and then they forget. I set my stops, I set my take profit levels, and I walk away, and I'm confident enough in my TA. So last night we shared this one because... again, I'm happy to wait for confirmation. I was pretty happy with that as a pickup, because I'm trusting my TA and this playing out a number of times. And overnight, Ads, I think we've taken around 5% so far, I think, where we're up. So we're up 5.2% from that point there. So again, just like we've had here, these wicks are not really organic. So I take it from the body there, from these wicks. We've had 1, 2, 3, now 4 plays off that trend line. And again, the Ichi being used quite well there as resistance again, and then support before our bounce up. So I'm keeping this trade open for the meantime. And what am I looking for? Well, I'm looking for this cloud resistance around the 2,700 SAT mark. From there, I will take some profits. It could likely hit the 38, or even indeed the baseline there on our Ichi. But for me, again, that would literally be like 0.5% or something. So I'm happy to take profits from there, at least 50 to 60% of my trade off the table. And if we do get a clear break above, I'll hold it. If we get a clear rejection, I'll simply just close and wait for a better point to re-enter.
Looking at nearly a bullish MACD cross there as well, Ty, coming off that latest candle on the daily.
Yeah, 100%. And a few nice daily bits of volume. Probably not what we want to see for a huge run as of yet. But again, I'm happy to see sort of consistent uptrends than what I am these spastic volumes and candles coming in here. Just that's too volatile for me. So as well, looking at it too, let me just get rid of this. We had steamroller nearing the bottom or its oversold condition. We've got an oversold condition here, this green highlighted box indicating that the sellers are starting to be a little bit exhausted and buyers are starting to come into the market. And our RSI starting to point upwards as well with a little bit of volume. But one thing that I want to see if this can continue any higher, we know when we see increasing price but decreasing volume, that's a bearish sort of signal. So I want to see this volume start to increase a little bit if we're going to break this 38 fib.
And I think that's where it'll end up in the short term anyway, coming up to that next fib level, 2733 sats is probably where I would put it, if not that itchy resistance you got drawn there.
Yeah, definitely. So that was one trade. Another one, we'll get into this one last week. Can you remember the coin that we spoke of? It is, drumroll, it was RVN. So Raven has done 11.25%. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the chart that I had where we posted that. But anyway, you can go back and watch last Thursday night's video. We're not lying. So it was on the last Thursday was the 27th, which I think was that big wick down to the 0 fib line there adds. And since then, we can see we've got this little bit of a sort of a channel here where we've been trending in it beforehand. We can see we've come down, we've gone up, we've come down, we've gone up. So it was a pretty sort of clear indication, along with the fact that our histogram was starting to decrease, signaling some convergence between our MACD and our signal line. And now, again, similarly to BAT, what we've got now is a bullish MACD cross potentially on the horizon there. And again, similar to what we've had on BAT 2, we've got the 38 acting as resistance and also cloud resistance there too. But you can sort of see that lines up quite well with this last point where we broke above. So that would be my first level of resistance. But looking left as well, we've had some pretty nice breaks between this 350 and sort of 310 sat mark. So again, once we hit the 38, I'll be taking a little bit of profit off and looking for further confirmation of where we might head. But what I do like about this is that we've got a pretty evident C clamp here on our Ichimoku. And whether it's a bullish or a bearish sort of C clamp, we've got a nice sort of break above our conversion line. So if we do happily and confidently break through the 38, we can see that our baseline lines up perfectly with our 50 fib level. So that would sort of complete the C clamp, and that would sort of be my next level to take profits before this 350 mark. And I'd do that pretty happily on RVN.
Mate, that lines up too perfectly.
Yeah, and I actually only overlaid that today, March 5th. When was that? Yeah, so I did that chart only, what was that, half an hour ago, and I thought I'd just overlay the itchy, and of course, yeah, it's a dynamic 50 as we know, so it's lined up really, really well.
Absolutely, it does. That's
a couple of
awesome.
other ones as well, and then I'm going to set a challenge for the people that are watching this to see how many people actually watch this and start responding. So we've had every single week, we've given an alt call for things that we're watching, and I think 6 out of the 7 or 8 weeks that we've done this, we've been fortunate with that. But one that we looked at this week ads was, or the 2 weeks ago was, or 3 weeks ago was Algo. So we can bring up that chart ads. We had Algo. So we went through this last week very quickly. I will just recap. We had ZRX and BAT showing a very similar formation. We had BAT leading ZRX in this W pattern, or this W double bottom pattern within this descending structure, or this triangle. We can see here as well that Steamroller gave us the goods for an entry signal. We got a really big push up from this 0 fib to the 127 extension. I think it was like 30-something%. And what I said to our guys, I exited just before the 127, and I said, I'm going to start looking around what's happening at this 4,000 sat mark. Well, we blew past the 4,000 sat mark. And just like we showed on BAT before, we've got this downward downward trend line because it was that sort of, it was essentially the neckline for this break. And then if we just show the next chart ads, bang. So we had a bit of a descending triangle there as well, or this wedge, and then a perfect break off the neckline and the 61 fib level with this little increase of volume. And I think we did 15.21%. I did not trade that, full disclosure. I was just too busy with other altcoins. But again, it just goes to show how this formation or this pattern is being respected quite well across a lot of altcoins. So it's a pretty easy setup to spot, and one that yields some pretty decent results.
Absolutely, and it has over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. And the very last one that I want to show, and I think we spoke about this in the inner circle a few weeks ago. There's a couple of others which I'll post inside Discord. We got ZRX, which is so far done just shy of 10% in the last couple of days. But this one was a funny one, which was
Aeon. Was it Aeon?
I think it was
Ion.
Aeon. Yeah,
Ion.
yeah, Ion. So again, full disclosure, I was going to share this inside Discord, and I thought everyone's going to look at me like an absolute fucking sham because I would look at this thinking I was a sham. So I drew my sort of not so much my demand box or like my area of interest box, and I did that at 7:42 in the morning. But I changed it, and I mustn't have reposted the chart. So looking at these parallel channels, again, we're seeing it on BNB, we're seeing it on ZRX, showing a very similar structure to this right now. And ZRX has just pumped off this parallel channel bottom as well. We got Ion. I'm like, all right, this is looking pretty good for a little bit of a push here. We've seen that every time we've had a push off this parallel channel, we kind of had something a little bit sort of silly go on, and I was going to take a chance. It was a small trade, like, you know, $700 or $800. I put some money on it, and then we got this next thing just afterwards. I was watching it later in the afternoon, and then bang, we we got a bounce straight off it, and we actually did hit the top of that parallel channel, or very close to it, where I took profit, and we've since sort of pulled back a little bit since then. But that was an interesting trade as well. So I'm going to set a challenge. I'm looking at one particular coin at the moment. It's tradable on Binance. It's a coin that I've not seen or really traded much as of late, and it's just broken one of my resistance levels. And I'm just looking at it right now, and I'm looking for a potential 20% on this, 18 to 20% in the sort of the coming weeks. So I'm going to set a challenge. If you would like to know what that coin is, I want to get you to PM me in Discord. I'm not going to send you any links to buy any of our shit. This is really just a challenge to see who actually listens to this and wants to take some action this week. So you can go into Discord and you can PM me. I am Tex on Discord, and I will just give you the name of a coin that I'm looking at. All right, do your own TA on it. But just want to set a challenge to the people watching this to see if you actually are listening and paying attention. So let's have a look at a couple of other coins ads, and then we will wrap it up. I think it's best that we look at ETH for tonight.
Absolutely. I was just about to say ETH. So Ethereum was one that we looked at on our Tuesday night session, and the TA remains the same, Ty. I don't think there's anything else that I could probably add to this, bar the fact that it looks like it might be flagging. If you look on a smaller time frame, possibly the 4 hour, that it probably would be flagging up a little bit here. So looking at something along the lines of this. I know it looks small, it is a daily, but something along the lines of that, where you've got your flagpole starting from 27,000 sats and then coming down to 24,000. So that might take us down to that 50 Fibonacci retrace, or our demand, whichever one you want to take it. So I think the demand will be respected at 23,171 roughly in terms of the sats. But that's where I think ETH is going to end up, looking at some of this candle structure that we've had over the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, and with some of the other more detailed charts that we posted inside the inner circle, we've sort of seen a couple of long opportunities that we've taken from 25,010 sats. So for myself, looking at this and talking about it with some of our members the other day as well, that's where I'd be looking for a potential long of this. But the fact that we're making these liar hoes, these liar hose. The fact that we're making these lower highs is not giving me confidence of a dramatic bullish move to the upside at this sort of point, and we're just starting to teeter below this 23 fib line. So for ads and myself, again, always happy to be proven wrong. We can only go off what we're seeing and what our TA is telling us. But if we're looking at the USD pairing, we're looking at around 190 for FUSD if we can get a confirmed break to the downside here. And that's sort of our overall target. Again, as I said, happy to be proven wrong. We're seeing a nice little bit of a run up at the moment.
Yeah.
But again, and I'm happy to be proven to be wrong on this one. But yeah, I'm gonna go with that.
Well, if you look at the ETH USD pairing, it's a little bit more prominent in terms of the way that the flag is presenting itself.
Yeah.
So you're looking at something. Oops, I'm ruining it. Something like that, Ty. And I think if you do a measured move, not that I use them very often or at all, but if we do that measured move, that'll take us roughly around the $180 mark, and that is more than enough for a decent pullback off this run from $120.
Yeah, and as we said a few times on F, again, I think patience is the theme of this episode. Ads, we're happy to wait to get a confirmation, because I'm happy to wait for a nice short opportunity than what I am trying to long this and catch it. We're making clear descending. We almost had the exact same. Well, I wouldn't say the exact same thing here, but we had something very similar here as well, and we broke down. So will we do the same thing again and break down to here? Time will tell. I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So ETH a big mover, and I think that might be a catalyst for some other coins doing the same sort of thing. So we'll see where we go.
Yeah, and just out of interest, we will just show Matic, because the India news, if you were watching or if you had been listening to some of the news, India had the Indian central bank quite a number of months ago now, maybe even been about a year or so ago, said that holding cryptocurrencies was banned, or Indian residents weren't allowed to do it. So there was a few Indian projects. There was WRX, which pumped. There was also Matic, which pumped, and I'll just share that with you two ads.
Yeah, I'll bring that up.
So this, I just sent it to you in the Zoom chat. So that, again, same thing again. We've had this charted up for quite a long time now. I would say probably close to a month or so we've had this charted up for. So again, very similar to BAT. We've got this triangle formation. We got a test, or very close to a test, off the 50, but it was just off the conversion line, and then straight off this downward trend line. And then it busted straight through this resistance all the way up to the 61 extension, where we've sort of pulled back, and now we're teetering around this 27.38 extension mark there. So it's looking a little exhausted, but it'd be interesting to see how this continues up, if it does. But looking at what ads has got there up on the charts, we've seen these huge pumps and dumps on Matic. So looking at Steamroller, it is giving us quite a heavy overbought condition at the moment. That we can sort of see in the past, we've not actually had these heavy oversold conditions here that we've had in the past. So looking likely, if we're listening to Steamroll and looking at our CCI there, which shows a little bit of bearish divergence, that we might have a pullback here on the cards. Oh, there we go. And I actually hadn't drawn my fibs from the top of that move either, ad. So yeah, 38 resistance there as well. I'd be interested to put overlay Itchy on that and see what it's saying.
You want crypto or normal?
Let's see if we get a bit of confluence amongst the two of them.
So we're going normal.
Okay, so the 50 looking like it could be potential there.
Absolutely, it could. And then if we look at the crypto. Same.
Okay, wow, edge to edge.
Yeah, edge to edge. So look, it's completely and entirely possible that it could run to the 50. Honestly, our indicators are looking a little bit oversold, but when we have big moves like this, FOMO tends to take over, Ty, and nothing else matters. So
and this is very akin to Link as well, where we sort of debated this a little bit on Tuesday night, whether we thought it was gonna run, and what's it done so far? It's done just over 11% since we traded on Tuesday night. So for any of our guys that were watching on Tuesday night, I hope you got into that. And that's another coin that runs on sheer FOMO.
Yeah, it does. It really does.
All right, we'll take one last look. Let's have a look at XRP. One of the others that we do, or actually, you know what? I don't like to trade it. You do.
I do like to trade it.
And oh, look at that. Okay, beautiful bounce off demand there as well. So we've had a little bit of a bounce from there. We had that almost that head and shoulder formation forming there as well. It almost looks like a little bit of a middle finger.
Well, the head and shoulders formation was actually this one that I pointed out on a Tuesday, which was something like that, Ty.
Yeah.
And then ending right around where our demand is at around the 22 cent mark was where I was happy to pick this up, and then using these candles just to the left here. So that entire wick to the body on that long red candle there, forming our demand, and then honestly been wicking down and touching down ever since. So look, it could be a possibility for a start to retrace back up to the 27 cent mark, but we'll have to see what happens. We need to make some structure to the upside.
Totally. Yeah, nice little bit of volume coming in there too. Steamroller telling us that we were approaching a near bottom of at least of that move, and then things are starting to turn up a little bit in terms of our indicators. But yeah, XRP is a weird one. If you saw the interview with Brad Garlinghouse this week, where he's saying that essentially they need to be dumping Ripple to fund selling XRP at a certain amount each month or year, whatever it is, to fund Ripple was an interesting thing. But nonetheless, despite the shit around any sort of project, you trade what you see and you trade it to make sats. So that's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
All right.
Perfect.
I think that will keep us for tonight. If you want to bring up our website ads, we have made a fair few changes to our website based on a bit of feedback. You can also see how our three-part trading strategy there right at the top of the website, where you can watch that directly. One thing that we've done is we've made it a little bit easier and if we scroll down ads, to find some of our guides. We've got obviously our Discord, our private coaching, our podcast and trading guides there. If you keep scrolling down ads, see some of the results there from our guys. Congratulations. Keep going down. We've got some of our most popular guides, and we've got a lot easier access to watch all of our videos and guides. So obviously how to trade with fibs, our complete beginner trading series, how to trade on BitMEX, and the Trade Hacker podcast. We'll have the first episode of the Trade Hacker podcast released in the next week. And man, we've got some really, really good interviews to share in the next few weeks and months. I'm so excited to share some of those with you. And as I said, one particular guest where we were looking at a monster ETH trade, and we found the ETH trade playing out as we were just having a bit of a chat. And sure enough, that was about a week before that huge run on ETH. So very interested to show you how he finds those setups, and actually some of the indicators that he's used that a few of his group members have created that he personally uses now as well, that I'll share with you in the next few weeks.
Perfect.
Teaser. All right.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for being here. You can join us over at unitytradinggroup.com and head on into the Discord. We do this every single week with our guys inside the inner circle, these live trading sessions. I've just gone on a TA spree today, posting 10, 15 charts in the last couple of days of things that we're watching, daily BTC updates, private mentoring, everything, you name it all, for only $30 a month. And again, as we just say, that covers our expenses. We're very fortunate enough to not need to charge a fortune because of what we do. So if you want to join us, you can sign up at unitytradinggroup.com and come and hang out and get access to all of our indicators that we've created. We've got another one that we're looking at again very shortly too. So looking forward to seeing you over there. But if not, we wish you all the best and look forward to seeing you next Thursday night.
Catch us later. Thanks for tuning in.
See you soon.